Assalamualaikum. If you like controversial opinions, this book is for you. Why is it controversial? It is widely considered to be pseudoscience by the mainstream scientific community. The authors argue that humans have existed on Earth for millions of years, far longer than is accepted by mainstream evolutionary theory. They claim to have documented numerous archaeological finds and artifacts that challenge the established timeline of human evolution. They suggest that these discoveries have been deliberately ignored, suppressed, or filtered out by the scientific establishment because they contradict the dominant Darwinian view of human origins. The accepted story of human origin goes like this. The first human ancestor apes appeared in the Miocene period. During the Pliocene period, the first primates that walked erect like humans appeared. This near-human is called Australopithecus and is said to be very similar to modern humans. Its head displayed some of the ape-like and human-like features. One branch of it evolved into Homo habilis around 2 million years ago at the beginning of the Pliocene period. Homo habilis was similar to Australopithecus except that its cranial capacity was larger. Homo habilis then evolved into Homo erectus, the species that includes Java man and Peking man around 1.5 million years ago. Paleoanthropologists believe that from the neck down, Homo erectus was almost the same as modern humans. Anatomically modern humans, Homo sapiens sapiens, emerged gradually from Homo erectus around 300,000 or 400,000 years ago. The first early Homo sapiens or archaic Homo sapiens appeared. Their cranial capacity was almost as large as that of modern humans, but they still manifested some of the characteristics of Homo erectus. This type of human known as Cro-Magnon appeared in Europe around 30,000 years ago, and they were anatomically modern. Anatomically modern Homo sapiens sapiens appeared about 100,000 years ago. Exactly where, when, or how Australopithecus gave rise to Homo habilis, or Homo habilis gave rise to Homo erectus, or Homo erectus gave rise to modern human remains unexplained. There are many gaps in the record of human descent. For example, there is an absence of fossils linking the Miocene apes to the Pliocene ancestors of modern apes and human ancestors. One could argue that it is a matter of time before someone finds the evidence that shows the link between the various stages of human evolution. However, how certain are we that the evidence will support the evolution theory? What if there is already evidence that contradicts the evolution theory, but it is swept under the carpet? This book presents evidence of many findings that show modern humans can be traced back many million years ago. It examines a large body of evidence relating to human origins and antiquity and look at whether consistent application of standards have been observed for the acceptance and rejection of evidence. The author's survey led them to conclude that up to now, scientists have not applied consistent standards. This inconsistency caused legitimate doubts about the trustworthiness of evidence upon which This inconsistency caused legitimate doubts about the trustworthiness of the evidence upon which the evolution theory of human origin has been built. Paleoanthropological evidence tends to be complex and uncertain. Any evidence can be challenged. One can always raise charges of fraud on evidence that does not agree with one's preconceived belief. What often happens is that evidence agreeing with the prevailing theory tend to be treated very leniently, to the extent that even serious defects are conveniently overlooked. On the other hand, evidence that goes against an accepted theory tends to be subjected to intense critical scrutiny and is expected to meet very high standards of proof. The authors show that when all the available evidence is considered impartially, the evidence does not support the evolution theory. When they apply the tactic of extreme skepticism equally to all available evidence, it becomes almost impossible to say anything at all about human origins. If, on the other hand, they took a more liberal approach, they found that human presence can be detected as far as the Eocene period and even further. There is ample evidence that suggests beings like us were around in the Pliocene, Miocene, Oligocene, Eocene, and beyond. Remains of apes and ape-like men Remains of apes and ape-like men were also found throughout the same period. It is plausible that different types of hominids coexisted throughout history. This is the clearest picture that emerges if one considers all available evidence. It is only by eliminating a great quantity of evidence and keeping only fossils and artifacts that conform to preconceived notions that one can continue to argue and provide support for the evolution theory. This is the deception carried out by scientists who wish to maintain the evolution theory. Western scholars who are committed to the theory that humans evolved in Africa uncritically reject very early dates for hominid fossils and artifacts found around the world. There is a great amount of evidence that suggests humans of the modern type have lived on various continents for tens of millions of years. For the same period, there is also evidence of various ape-like creatures, some resembling humans more than others. Findings can be interpreted in different ways. It is not unusual for scientists examining the same evidence to have differing views on or reach different conclusions. Unfortunately, it is always views and opinions that are favorable to the evolution theory that makes it to books, TV documentaries, and so on. Opinions that support the evolution theory are presented to the public as if there is no opposing or different opinions among experts. The informal gatekeepers and guardians of scientific orthodoxy are very careful and selective about what reaches the public. Scientists have responded to the author's accusation of evidence suppression. It is the standard process of scientific peer review and quality control. They argue that the so-called anomalous evidence is rejected for valid methodological reasons, not due to a conspiracy. This book is over 800 pages long, including a 28-page bibliography. Below, there is a link to a talk given by the author to help you decide if you want to read this book. If you do read it, you will have questions about the evolution theory. If you like listening to me babbling about books, please subscribe and turn on notification. Thank you.